What's up YouTube? Welcome back to my channel. If you are new, welcome. By now you guys have probably seen the Paris vlog, so hopefully you guys enjoyed that. If you haven't, I will link that up at the top where the eye is, so you can go ahead and click that and then come back to this video. Or if you've already seen it and you're all caught up, then let's get started. This video, I always do this whenever I put a vlog out. I put a commentary about my experience so that you guys can have a better guide to booking your own trips, and let's make Paris a reality for you. So if you want to see this video, then just keep on watching. I'm gonna go ahead and start off with 6 different points. The first one is the ease to travel. I did find Paris to be very easy to travel. There's a lot of people there at the train stations that can help you guys navigate everything. The only thing I would say is that while you're traveling, to make sure that you have an eye on all of your stuff, as pickpocketing unfortunately is a big thing out there. So just make sure you have your hands on your items. And that you are aware of your surroundings and holding on to everything tight, nothing in the back pocket. And honestly, I wouldn't recommend a backpack purse. I would recommend a crossbody with some kind of latch or hook to close it. The one that I had was a drawstring, so I just kept my hand on top of it the entire time that I was traveling throughout the trains and buses. But it is easy to travel, easy to understand. There's a lot of Wi-Fi areas, so you should be able to get connected and get your travel direction. So it is easy to travel. The second thing would be the language barrier. Everyone there actually seems to speak English. To be honest, I don't know very much French. Spanish, for some reason, comes a lot easier to me than French does. But I try to, you know, bonjour and, you know, s'il vous plaît with them. And they could tell that I didn't know much French. And it was almost like if I would say bonjour, they would just reply hello. And I think that's because they would rather you speak the language that you know than to butcher such a beautiful language, which is theirs. So yeah, if you don't speak much French, it's okay. I did not run into anyone who only spoke French. Everyone there spoke English and French. But if you can learn the basics, of course, that's always helpful. So the next thing that I want to talk about is food. France is known for a lot of their cafes. They have a ton of cafes everywhere. So while we were walking, I couldn't get access to a lot of Wi-Fi like I did in Amsterdam. So it was kind of luck of the draw for me because I didn't get a hold of my Yelp app. And pretty much, you know, luck of the draw, we tried 2 different cafes. If you guys don't know, when I travel to other countries, I'm pretty in and out. I don't stay there for long periods of time just to keep the cost down. So I get there, explore a couple days, and then I'm out. But basically, the cafes that we did eat at, one of them was really, really good, and one of them was okay. So I would recommend, if you can, use your Yelp app and just kind of be open-minded to what they have. One lady, she did see us kind of struggling with the menu, and so she made a suggestion. She was a native, and it was okay. The weird thing was that there was a little girl who was also a native, and she ordered the exact same thing, and she didn't like her food either. She just kind of cut it up and was moving it around the plate. She wasn't really into it. So the second restaurant that we ate at, I really enjoyed the olives. I know that's super random, but there was like, instead of doing a bread where, you know, people bring out bread and butter before you start, they brought out olives, and they were so good. It had like a garlic and a rosemary on it. It was absolutely delicious. And then I also had a salmon pasta, which was literally that. It was like a cream sauce, noodles, and salmon, and that was it. Still pretty good. I wasn't mad at it at all. So it's really luck of the draw. There's so much to choose from. All I can say is to be open-minded. The menus are all posted outside. Take your time and read it. And if you can get on a Wi-Fi, Yelp your restaurants ahead of time, or go ahead and pick exactly where you want to go, and then maybe Uber or take the train to that specific restaurant that you've already done your research on. We were very luck of the draw, so that's kind of what happened there. But I wasn't really mad at any of the food that I tried. That's the point of traveling. That's the point of trying new food. Some of it you'll like, some of it you won't. But the whole point is that you went out there and you tried it. So let's talk about activities. With Paris being such a historic place, there's a lot of different tours that you can do, and some of them are pretty costly. It just depends on which route you take. I would recommend looking through a third party just to see if you get a better deal, or some of the side little tourism spots that have little like deals and packages and stuff like that to see what they have. We did the hop on hop off bus and a dinner cruise, and then the first day we just kind of took the train and walked around and explored. That's what we always do whenever we first land somewhere. It's just to kind of figure out where are we, what's around, what's going on, that type of thing. And then the second day we usually have a solid plan of what we want to do. The night cruise without the dinner was like 10 euros, so that wasn't bad at all. The hop on hop off bus was like 30 euros per person. Again, from the US dollar, you are losing money when you switch over to the euro. So just keep that in mind, that it's a little bit more than 30 in US dollars. So with that being said, it's really up to you and what you make it. Also, it's about what you want out of Paris as well. Because if you decide to go shopping, obviously tons of designer labels and brands and stuff like that, and that's going to run you a pretty penny. But it's up to you and what you make of it, what you want to do. So take your time and really explore, because there's a lot to see. It's almost overwhelming. It's something that should not be done in 2 days like I did. It should be done in probably 3 or 4, honestly, at the minimum. But it's up to you as well as what you want to see. So take your time when picking your activities, and just keep in mind that some of it is a little bit pricey. So the next thing I want to talk about is kind of this whole perception that Americans have of the French kind of being a little bit rude and that kind of thing. So I think it's important for me to tell you guys about my experience, especially my experience as a black woman. So first off, I didn't have an issue at all. Actually, everybody was super nice. They were really, really friendly, but I did see a couple fellow Americans that did get snapped on, but I understood why, and I'll explain. So at the hotel we were at, there's a nighttime bar, and you get a menu or whatever for like a pizza. That's all they had. So I'm reading this menu, and I won't lie to you, I was looking for the pepperoni pizza. That is my jam. I love some pepperoni pizza. But as I was reading, I said, okay, well, maybe they don't call it pepperoni pizza. Maybe they call it something else. So I read through everything, every single line, every single ingredient. There was not a single pepperoni in sight. So I went with the second best thing that I knew, which was the margarita pizza. And this guy who's from the States, he just flat out asked, hey, you guys have pepperoni pizza? And the guy kind of snapped on him like, no, we don't have pepperoni pizza. So I understood it. Because when you go to a different country, it is important to be open-minded. You cannot, you know, go somewhere and feel like, oh yeah, I'm gonna just eat everything that I've been eating back at home. Like, you have to be aware that you are in someone else's territory. So you kind of gotta be open-minded to what they have, what they can offer, that kind of thing. So I completely understood that that's why this was kind of happening to them. And another thing is, whenever I saw something on the menu, like at the cafe, say it's something with raspberry, I'm allergic to raspberries, I just wouldn't order it. I wouldn't even bother ordering it and say, oh, can you take the raspberry off? Just whatever it is, just accept it the way that it is. And if it's something on there that you can't have, then just order something separate. I do not recommend anybody start asking to have this taken off or that taken off. I don't think that the French like that at all. So that was something that I think they were more irritated about. That's all I really saw. And then the other one was just, it was actually these two French guys going at it on the bus. But I think this guy was asking for like extra stops or something like that, which is understandable. Anybody would be upset about that. Like, we're not making exceptions for you. If the route says to go here, then that's where we're going. So if you wanted some kind of special drop off, you should have got a taxi. I did hear the word taxi in my mind, that's what he said, but they were all speaking French, so I had to figure it out. That's another thing. If you find yourself in a situation, and this is just an international tip, and you don't speak the language and something is happening that looks like conflict around you, look at the people's faces around you. So this situation that was happening on this bus, these guys literally going back and forth the entire bus ride. The bus driver threw the bus and parked like 3 or 4 times. You know, in the States, you have to stand behind the white line. And if you don't, that's pretty much like illegal. You're about to go to jail. So they don't have a white line. This guy just going at the driver, bop, 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 and the guy's going bop, 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 right back. And I'm just like, what is happening? So I turn around, I'm looking. Everybody looks genuinely annoyed. They're like, oh, I wish he would sit down. And I'm like, okay, I can deal with that. Nobody looks frightened, because then I was gonna have to get off the bus. I wasn't gonna stay for that. And by the time I saw the guy in the back laughing, I was like, okay, so this guy's just being a pain, and that's it. But I wasn't sure, because the bus driver kept throwing the bus in park and jerking on the brakes, and I was just like, what is happening? What is happening? So yeah, that's just my tip. look at other people's faces around you if you're not sure of what's going on, to see kind of what your next move should or should not be. I feel like body language is universal and you can easily figure that out. So that's my whole thing about the whole, how do the French treat Americans? How will they treat a black woman? There's also a lot of diversity. That's important for me to acknowledge. A ton of diversity. I think they could be neck and neck with New York and how diverse they are. So boom, there we go. The last thing that I feel like I need to tell you is kind of who I would recommend Paris to be for as far as a successful trip. I think that there's so much in the media, so many pictures that are taken that glorify and make Paris look absolutely like a dream come true, which it is beautiful, don't get me wrong, it's absolutely gorgeous. But if you are not a history buff, or if you're not into shopping, if you're not in a relationship, I feel like you may have a difficult time figuring out Paris. I don't think that it's for everybody. I do think that if it's something that you just have to see for yourself, regardless of what I'm telling you, then you should still go. I do think it's one of those things that you just have to see for yourself sometimes. But if you are looking for something that is going to fit a specific group, or, you know, is it going to be something that you can do? If you're not a history buff, if you're not into French culture, if you are not a foodie, and if you don't like to shop, and if you're not in a relationship, I almost don't think that it would be a good idea. Like, as far as a bro trip, absolutely not. As far as a girl's trip, and you guys don't like to shop, and you're not history buffs, and you're not really foodies, and you're looking for a beach, not it. If you're just looking for like the fun city life, I didn't see like any clubs or anything like that. I mean, they may exist, but I didn't see any. So just kind of keep that in mind. I would just hate for somebody to go and spend so much money to get all the way over there and then it be not what you thought. And a lot of times that does happen with cities that are in the media like that. So even LA, there's so much that comes out of LA as far as media and different trendy little shops and stuff. And then by the time you get there, you're like, this is it. This isn't what I thought. And like the picture just looks so much, almost like a marketing thing, you know? So that's all. Yeah, that's pretty much it. This brings me to the end of the video. I just have to put in my 2 cents about who I think it's for, and I gave you guys all the rest of my tips. So do me a favor, like this video if you found the information helpful. Comment below if you have any questions at all that I can possibly answer. I think I'm gonna go take a Claritin because literally, happy spring, that's why I'm, you know, the spring spirit. But this pollen is getting to me. I had to stop filming so many times because I can barely breathe. I mean, stuffy nose to the max. So I'm gonna go do that. I'll see you guys next time, and thank you so much for watching. Subscribe to the channel so that you never miss a beat. There's another trip coming up. No, I'm not gonna tell you what it is. You'll just have to subscribe and see, and I'll see y'all next time. Bye.